if anybody else has been feeling this way, like just feeling a sense of confusion and just feeling like there's a million things to do and you just don't know where to start. But I have found that I have been rushing my process. And if you don't know, in a couple months, I'm going to be moving away from my hometown, something I've never done before. And I'm going to be going to a new city. There's going to be new people, new opportunities. I'm going to university, so there's going to be like a new school. Everything is going to be new. And at first, I didn't want to go this far to go to university. I wanted to stay close by and just be around the familiar. But God challenged me to go this far, and I did it as an act of obedience. But now I'm falling in love with God's will for my life, and I'm falling in love with the thought of moving away. And so every day it's just like more and more I think about moving away and being away from my parents and my siblings and kind of getting to navigate life on my own. And though part of that is scary, it's also super freeing. And so I've kind of fallen in love with the thought of like having a clean slate. And so I think we have to be careful because it can get to the point of covetousness or idolization. And so even though this was God's will for me, I like at first it wasn't what I wanted, but as the more and more it was revealed to me and the more and more I was getting into it, I fell in love with God's will, right? And so it's just so crazy because at first we don't want anything to do with what God wants for us, and then when God starts to order our steps and align, our will with His, it's just like His plans are always perfect. But I've been feeling a lot of pressure to show up perfect, and I've been dealing with perfectionism my whole life. It's an early childhood wound. It's coming from a house where I'm the eldest daughter. There's always been an expectation put on me, and so I have dealt with perfectionism my whole life. And so I loved the thought of moving away from my hometown and getting a clean slate. Like nobody knows me. I don't know anybody. Everything is new. Everything is a start over. And usually I don't like to start over, but I feel like my life in my hometown is just not my fullest potential. And I feel like only when I get away from everyone and everything that I feel is judging me will I fully be able to show up as myself. And so it was just hard at first to accept it, but as I slowly started getting into it, I loved it. But then it became this thing about I need to fix myself, and that's what perfectionism is. It's always about fixing and making things perfect, right? And so it got to the point where I was like, I need to fix myself. I need to make sure that I fix this and fix that so that I show up as this perfect, put together being in university. And something we always hear is everybody's still figuring things out. Like nobody has it all figured out, right? And we hear that all the time. But it's like, in my mind, I was trying to have it all figured out. And so God prompted me to go on a walk with Him today. And I was talking about just some insecurity issues and scarcity issues that I had. And He was telling me, like, don't think that this issue is just going to disappear the minute you get to your next assignment or destination. Like, don't just think that all of a sudden there's going to be this miraculous transformation. And even though God is able to make a miraculous transformation before you show up there, God is also very intentional, and He knows each of us in and out. And so God knows me in and out, and He knows that He could do a miraculous transformation before I move into this new assignment. But He knows that if He did that, I would fully fall into this mindset of thinking that I'm perfect, and I wouldn't be able to show up as an imperfect being in the places He needs me to. And so He told me, like, this is a work in progress. You're not going to show up to this place perfect, everything healed. Like, that is not the point of the healing journey. The point of the healing journey is that it's a journey, and you learn about yourself and you unlearn things. And I was like, well, I want to unlearn this right now. And He was like, no, that's not what that's about. It's not about how fast you can unlearn things. It's about how intentional you are in the process of unlearning. And so it's been really hard to just like kind of sit back and dismantle the thoughts and the actions as they come without like fully wanting to like just eliminate them. understand that it's not always going to be perfect, and it's about juggling and learning how to work around yourself and learning more about yourself, and setting the right expectation. Like, I'm kidding myself if I think I'm going to show up in this new place and never make a mistake and never fail. Failure and mistakes are a part of life and a part of our journey, and when we hold ourselves to these unfair expectations, we begin to simultaneously hold other people. And that's something that I've noticed that I do a lot, is I have these very unrealistic expectations for myself, and I hold other people to it. And so the minute somebody messes up, I cut them out of my life. The minute somebody does something human, I cut them out of my life, because I act the same way with myself. The minute I mess up, that guilt holds on to me for months, days, years, because I don't have grace for myself. And so we cannot give what we don't have. We need to learn to give those things to ourselves first. And something that I'm also unlearning is focusing on myself, giving myself good things, buying things for myself. Focusing on myself, period, is not selfish, but it can become selfish when we take God out of the equation. But if I'm partnering with God to focus on myself and build myself up, there is nothing selfish about that. And so that's what this process is about. It's just about unlearning and then relearning the right things. But remember to be patient with yourself during this journey.